Hey guys, welcome to Smack Talk Wrestling Reviews. I am your host, Boise, and this is not just the last Raw of 2018, this is the last WWE show of 2018. So what have we got in store? We have a steel cage match between Dolph Ziggler and Drew McIntyre. We have a fresh start battle royale. Who will come out on top? And Triple H confronts Seth freaking Rollins. This and much more. Let's just get on with it. Let's hit the music. So we started off the show with the steel cage match, Dolph Ziggler versus Drew McIntyre, and this was a hell of a match. This is the match to end their rivalry. It's been a short-term rivalry, but my God, this is great. They started off as we all know, as tag team partners and partners. They kind of split off since Drew started teaming up with Bobby Lashley and Baron Corbin when Baron Corbin was in power. Now Corbin's out of power. McIntyre has been, you know, on his own, and he's kind of dominated being the big heel on Raw now. I think he is classing himself as the big heel. I think Brock Lesnar's still the biggest heel on the show, but Drew's there every week, so he's definitely the biggest heel on Raw. But this was a grand way to finish off their rivalry. You had them killing each other in a steel cage match. It looked like at first Dolph Ziggler's strategy was to just get out of the steel cage and win it that way. But this was a hard hitting match, and he absolutely stole what for me was the best match of the friggin' night. Was the first match of the night. Mainly because we saw a dozen Claymore kicks to Dolph Ziggler and Drew McIntyre was torturing him. It just felt like that. It's a great way to end it. It's a great way to end their partnership, the rivalry, everything in between. So I'm going to give this a 9 out of 10. Fantastic way. Drew just coming back into the steel cage, not just once but twice to take out Dolph, was just overkill, but it was in that good way of this ends everything kind of way. So yeah, 9 out of 10. Next up we have Seth freaking Rollins, the man of Monday Night Raw, Monday Night Rollins himself, and he came out and he cut a fantastic promo, and this seemed like to be a throwaway promo as it was, and this was to say, look, I'm going to take on Dean Ambrose for the Intercontinental Championship because I still have a rematch clause. Turns out he doesn't, because Triple H came out and said, we've already explained this to everyone, no one has opportunities like that anymore. There's no such thing as a rematch clause. You have to earn every single opportunity, and I thought that was a good reminder. That's keeping, you know, continuity for everyone, not just the baby faces, you know, not just for the heels, but for the baby faces as well. Like, guys, if you want a rematch for your title, you've lost, you've got to earn it, and this is how you earn it. And I like that. I like that they are keeping to that. But it was a great promo between both men, because you saw the tension just build, and it was just like, what could we see come from this? And Triple H, in a fantastic way, told everyone Seth's accomplishments, not just from his, you know, time with the Authority, but since then, since he, you know, turned on the Authority, turned face and everything. And he even said, look, I believed in you, and when I didn't believe in you, you kicked my ass. And I thought, oh my God, that's a big compliment from Triple H alone, just saying that. And it really builds something into Seth Rollins, and I hope this is the catalyst, so we can finally see Seth friggin' Rollins as the guy on Monday Night Raw. Because out of everyone, I like Braun Strowman, I like other wrestlers, you know, Finn Balor, but there's one guy who should be Universal Champion in my opinion, and that is Seth freaking Rollins. He's held the Intercontinental Championship, he's made it amazing, and now it's time for him to take the Universal title and show the world what Monday Night Rollins is all about. So I'm going to give this segment, this promo between the two, I'm going to give it an 8. Shane O'Mac reminded everyone, Seth, you're not going to take on Dean. You're the winner of the Fresh Start Battle Royale will do, and that started next. But a really great promo, 8 out of 10. Seth Rollins and Triple H just doing what they need to do. this moved us, like I said, to the Fresh Start Battle Royale, and it was interesting. I will give it that. It kind of stunk of creative not having an idea what to do with a lot of superstars, and that's been kind of the issue for Monday Night Raw. And I think this was the turning point of a really good strong start to, like, oh, we're going back to traditional Raw kind of, you know, ways of doing stuff. And I'm not the hugest fan for Battle Royales. I think sometimes they can be done really well if you're building up a superstar who's got the momentum. But this one was for, like, every single superstar who has no momentum right now. Apart from one guy, and that's Finn. Baron Corbin was in there. You had Apollo. You had the Ascension. You had the Lucha House Party. You had the B Team. You had Mojo Rawley. You had Zack Ryder finally on Monday Night Raw for the first time in 2018. You had Kurt Hawkins. Now, you had all these superstars. And you had Tyler Breeze, my favourite out of all of them. And automatically there was one thing, and one thing only, which came into my head was, this could be the most brilliant way for Hawkins to beat his streak. And I thought this throughout the whole match, because it got to last three. And it was Baron Corbin, Apollo, and Hawkins. I went, I want Hawkins to win this. And the crowd started cheering for that. And it was like, oh, this is a great opportunity. If creative were really smart there, they could have gone, we could really use this. Where it looks like, in my head, this is how they should have done it. Should have had it where it looks like Hawkins is eliminated, but he's not officially eliminated. So the referee's like, he's not eliminated, but no one pays attention. So the commentators go, oh, he's been eliminated, all this lot. And then you have Apollo knock out Baron Corbin, Apollo celebrating, then Hawkins comes out of nowhere, because like I said, he's not officially eliminated, and he wins. That's how it should have done, and the crowd would have gone mental, because Hawkins, you could tell the crowd were getting more and more into, like, wow, this guy's not won a match this year, this could be a really great opportunity. And no, we had Baron Corbin eliminate Hawkins, and it was kind of like, ah, you've just missed a golden opportunity. But no, Apollo did get a win. He got 8 eliminations in this, and I thought, wow, that's impressive. But then I realised, what's going to happen? Because the winner of this gets a Intercontinental title shot that night against Dean Ambrose. And it was kind of like, ooh, the only guy I really want to see against taking on Dean Ambrose for that is Finn Balor. Everyone else I don't honestly care about seeing, apart from Tyler Breeze. Tyler Breeze had a fantastic match, and Tyler Breeze should be in every single, you know, open challenge in the world, because he's just so good at them. But yeah, that's my thing. And Apollo winning in that kind of way, a very strong way as well, kind of makes me worried on how they're going to book him in the future. I'm kind of hoping we don't get Apollo just shoved down our throats, but I've got a feeling it could happen. Like I said, not the biggest fan of the Battle Royale situations, so I'm going to give this a 6 out of 10. After the commercial breaks and all of this lot, we did have Baron Corbin still out in the ring, and he was saying this is not fair, yeah, using me as a scapegoat and everything like that, and, you know, I deserve the Intercontinental shot. Elias comes out, plays his music, and says, look, I'm going to have a New Year's Eve party, and you're not invited. And, you know, starts singing a song about, about the city he was in, pretty much aiming all the negativity to Baron Corbin. Baron Corbin had enough, and the two started beating the crap out of each other until Baron Corbin ran away. For me, honestly, I think this is interesting for the most, because let's be honest, the Bobby Lashley Elias feud hasn't really worked out great. I think the best match they had was the Miracle on 34th Street fight. That's only because it had Lego in. If you got Lego in a fight, it's a bloody good match. But everything else kind of seemed like, yeah, nothing to it. But Baron Corbin is probably a great opponent for Elias right now. Mid-card kind of opponents. Baron Corbin just dropping from biggest heel to mid-card heel is fine. Elias, you know, still learning how to be a babyface, so could be quite interesting. I'm going to give this a 7, because the possibilities are high with these two. It's just I'm hoping that the creative team can get behind them and really give them some juicy bits to work with. So yeah, 7 out of 10. Next up, we had a 6-woman tag team match, and it was the Riott Squad versus Ember Moon, Bayley and Sasha Banks. Let's be honest, this is again WWE creative team going, oh, we've got Bayley, Sasha Banks and Ember Moon, but we've really got nothing to do with them, and we've got the Riott Squad. What should we do? Just throw them in a tag team match, and that's the problem. We've got the women's tag teams coming up, titles coming up in 2019. And the Riott Squad have got to be up there as one of the favourites to win it with Bayley and Sasha Banks. But the problem is, if you're booking them like this, it's not going to help. Sasha Banks, Bayley and Ember Moon, a team kind of thrown together. Bayley and Sasha Banks tag all the time. But it's kind of like, for me, it was this. The commentating team really went out of their way on this episode to talk about how big of a, how good of a unit the Riott Squad were, how well organised, how in sync they are, and how well developed they are become as a tag team specialists. And they lose to a team of Bayley and Sasha Banks, who are usually tag team partners, and Ember Moon, who they've only last week started teaming up with. So it's kind of like, it kind of doesn't feel like that there's something missing here, and it definitely stinks of creative teams going, well, we don't know what we're going to do with these guys. Just throw them in a tag team and we'll have the baby faces win because we need a nice moment for the show. And let's be honest, we still don't know what to do with the Riott Squad. Even though the Riott Squad are finding their own feet, and they are very much popular enough as a heels faction to do really well. I just don't understand. You build them up through commentating, you make them seem like a unit, and then you just take the rug underneath their feet and you're dropping the ball, guys. I'm going to give this match a 6 out of 10. It's okay, but if you miss it, you miss it. It really won't ruin your day for missing it. Next up, we got the Bobby Lashley and Seth freaking Rollins match. And I've got to say, this was a really interesting match. Mainly because we started to see this aggressive Seth freaking Rollins character. Seth Rollins has been the guy on Raw for so much, and this match kind of showed the more aggressive side. We haven't seen this Seth Rollins for a long time, I think, and this really did, I think, work for Seth, because Bobby Lashley is a good opponent for this to happen against. Seth controlled the match. Bobby Lashley and Lio Rush, Lio Rush getting and distracting Seth Rollins, almost costing him the match a few times because of that. Seth had enough of Lio Rush, chased him around. Lio Rush, it's that thing where Lio Rush escapes, dodge, weave, jump over things, and finally Seth got his hands on him, took him out, got sick of Bobby Lashley getting involved, steel chair. Seth lost by disqualification, but this was a very dominant Seth Rollins. Instead of like disqualification, he took out his frustrations on both Lio Rush and Bobby Lashley, actually bending this steel chair over both men. I mean, curb stomping Lio Rush to finish it off. I've got to really say, I really enjoyed this. I thought, if this is how we're going to build up Seth Rollins to be the big face on Raw, I'm definitely going to be happy with it. I'm excited to see where if creative can continue doing this, this is definitely worth it. Hopefully we don't get a feud between Bobby Lashley and Seth Rollins, because I think that would be a step back for Seth. But yeah, really excited. Really want to see where this goes for Seth, not for Bobby Lashley versus Seth, just for Seth. So I'm going to give this an 8 out of 10. Seth Rollins just stealing the show yet again. Next up, we had a handicap match where we saw Jinder Mahal teaming up with his Singh brothers to take on Heath Slater and Rhino. And I know what you're thinking. Why? And the answer is, don't know. I honestly don't know. I remember that last week we saw Jinder Mahal and Heath Slater have a match, and then Rhino got involved dressed up as Santa, and now we've got this match. It was pointless. Like, the biggest question for me was, because the heels had the numbers advantage, the Singh brothers still had to distract the referee to allow Jinder Mahal to use his finish. It was just really confusing for me. It just felt like, oh my god, Rhino's kind of returned. It's not really a return, it's just, he was fired, and then he wasn't fired, and now he's Santa, and then he's back on Monday Night Raw as a superstar. And he's not a free agent, he's actually a superstar, so he wasn't technically fired in. Or did did Shane O'Mac just sign Rhino back and no one realised this? Who knows? But yeah, it really was a waste of time, of TV time, which could have been used on other matches. So I'm going to give this a 3 out of 10. Don't bother watching it, guys. Just skip it, and trust me, you're going to save yourself and brain cells some time. Next up, we did get the Intercontinental Championship match where we saw Dean Ambrose versus Apollo Crews. And, oh, this was different. I didn't like this. Apollo obviously came out looking strong for the match, and I think that's good for Apollo. But this was not a good outing for Ambrose, and I've got to say, it really shone how ring rusted, and I think a lot of people reported on this, on how much Dean looked like he was like he's still not 100% in ring ready, and it kind of showed. I know he's trying to change things up with his his character, his attitude, and his in ring skills, but it was kind of like there's a lot to take in there, and you've not been on TV for some time, you haven't been in matches for some time, and it was a really slow start match. It got better, and that's fine, that's a good thing, but when it gets better and you expect, like Apollo had a goodish, you know, battle royale, a good showing in the battle royale, and Dean, who was out before his injury, was the workhorse of WWE. You kind of go, well, what's going on here? And that's the problem. It felt like, what's going on with Dean? And it highlighted that Dean's probably not ready to be Intercontinental Champion. I think the story was there. I think the character was there, but I don't think that Dean's actual ability, his physical ability yet, is up there with the former holders, you know, like Dolph Ziggler, The Miz, Seth Rollins, guys like that who really kind of big workhorses for WWE, and that's what the Intercontinental title should be about. And Dean is a workhorse, so he has every right to hold that title more than anyone else, but it's just getting him ring ready, properly ring ready. And I think they kind of rushed this story with Seth to take the title off Seth to give it to Dean. But yeah, it was a big highlight on where Dean is really in ring. So I'm gonna give this a 6, and I feel really bad for doing it because I think Apollo was a highlight in this, but there was a lot of negatives towards Dean, which took a lot away from this match for me. Last but not least, we had a tag team match, and this all started because Natalya was cutting a promo backstage. Nia Jax and Tamina attacked her backstage, and it was made official. Ronda Rousey and Natalya will take on Tamina and Nia Jax. And I know what you guys are thinking. Was this a simple tag team main event? Yes, it was a kind of throwaway match, and I will admit that. But I'm going to highlight some positives in it. Natalya and Ronda Rousey's tag team partnership is solid. I cannot wait to see how Natalya and Ronda Rousey's friendship kind of split. If Natalya turns heel or Ronda needs to turn heel at some point. I'm not going to lie. But I'm going to give some positivity to Ronda Rousey. I know I'm not the biggest one. I do think she's booked OP, and I still do. I think the company has put her on a pedestal way too soon. I think everyone keeps going, oh, she's like the Kurt Angle of the women's division, and I'm like, yes, I can see where they're coming from with that, but I honestly think it's a lot more with the creative team really pushing her and making her feel very. And I know a lot of people disagree with me, saying, oh, you know, she's OP and her selling's fantastic. I don't think her selling's the best. I think her selling's good, but I don't think she's the best seller in the company, and I don't think she's the best seller in the women's division. I think she does alright, and I do, but a lot of the times, like with certain superstars, especially guys like Charlotte Flair, Becky Lynch, if they're in a match and they have to sell an injury, they will sell that injury towards all the way throughout the match. Ronda Rousey doesn't do that. She sells it for a while. She makes her opponents look strong for a little bit, and then she goes into Ronda mode, and then she's OP. She's like a Super Saiyan. So it's kind of like, you know, she does really, really well, and then she goes back a little bit, in my opinion. But in this match, I did think she did really well. I think it shows how much she's improved since her first match at WrestleMania, and I think she's definitely week by week getting better. And I've had my little rant about her OP-ish, but I think her actual in-ring ability, she's actually getting better every week. Does she deserve to main event Raw? Probably not. Do I think Seth should have had the main event this week? Yeah, because he's worked his ass off for that. But I can see where the company's going with this. But yeah, it was a throwaway tag team match. I want to see what's going to happen. I want to know what the storyline is for Ronda Rousey, because it feels like there's no story there for Ronda right now. But yeah, I'm going to give this a 7, because Ronda and Natalya's tag teams were great. Nia Jax and Tamina. God, Tamina's awful. Nia Jax is threatening, but in this kind of situation, she really didn't feel like 100% like a threat throughout at all through the match. So yeah, 7 out of 10. There you go. And there you go, guys. That was Monday Night Raw, the last Monday Night Raw of 2018. What do I think? I think the Seth Rollins stuff was fantastic. The steel cage match was bloody brilliant. I think that WWE are one step forward, 2 steps back. It does seem like they're going a really smart creative idea sometimes, and then they just go back to their old habits, and I'm kind of worried we're going to get into that pickle sooner rather than later with Raw. But hopefully, you know, I'm going to be positive. It's a new year, a new WWE can definitely do some great work, especially if they push Seth Rollins like they should do. But yeah, I'm going to give this week's episode, I'm going to give it a 7. I think it's a solid 7. Definitely earned its 7 now. But yeah, what was your favourite bit, guys? What was your favourite bit of this week's episode? Leave it in the comments below. If you do like our videos, don't forget to like, subscribe, and press the bell to keep notified. And if you want to follow us on Twitter, you can do it. It's at SmackTalkYouTube. If you want to follow me on the old Twitter, you can do it. It's at Boise88. And I'll see you guys next time on Smack Talk Wrestling Reviews. And from me, Mr. J, Yasha, we just want to say one last time, Happy New Year, guys, and we hope you have a fantastic 2019.